So I got her dialed in. I'm ready for the deer hunt, and this is going to be an exciting day at the Woodland Escape because we had Koen Tolhausen visited us last week, but he decided to stick around because he heard I had my good friend Patrick Taylor is coming now. Patrick's a blacksmith. I think he told me he's been a blacksmith since he was 16, and if it can be made out of steel, he's the guy that can do it. And I put out some of his wares here that he makes. Today we're going to be making knives. And Koen has volunteered to be Patrick's apprentice for the day, which is going to be kind of a fun scenario, and I get just to watch. I kind of work I like. Anyway, some of the stuff that Patrick makes, most of the stuff on this table is historically accurate, but he does take some free license here, which is pretty neat. Things like a key holder here that's with a leaf design on it. Some of the other non-period things I kind of like is the cheese cutter. The piece I really like that's on this table is this thing that has sort of a music theme going to it. It's a basic hook, but Patrick takes it to a whole new level there. Then the historically accurate things like fire strikers, things like musket tools, trommels, and I'm gonna actually patronize Patrick a wee bit and buy a couple of items from him. So on the new blockhouse, I'm going to use the strap hinges here. I'm going to purchase them from Patrick, and I'm going to purchase a door handle that he's made here. And yeah, so they're out there right now. They got the fire going, and I hope they got my breakfast ready. So we're going to go down, introduce everybody, and yeah, we're off to make some knives today. So Patrick here came back this morning to get the fire going, and I thought, well, just go get the fire going in the forge there. And by the time he's got it going, he's forged out one of those guys, and that is a...
That is a rat tail hinge. It's a very common style in the 17th, 18th century.
Pretty classic. Can I set that there?
Yep.
I can do anything I want. You're an indentured servant, right? But Patty, there's a trivet that Patrick just made, or a trammel, sorry. Trivet, not a trivet. And you got a shorter one over here. Anyway, I'm going to put a link down below in the description to Patrick's Facebook page, and if you want something custom made out of steel, he's the man to talk to. And like I say, he's brought a trunk full of neat stuff, but the neatest one, Patrick, could I give you that for a second?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to study this because I got to make me one of these. Now, at a glance, that would confuse a lot of people, confuse me. But what you do is you hang your tea kettle on two hooks there. This is hanging on either your trammel or your S hook on the fire, and you want to pour a cup of tea. So you just do that. You see, that'll stay put. If you could just hold the bottom of that, the hook's level. Yeah, you pour that guy, and that'll pour the tea right out there. Right? What do you think of that?
Yeah, that's pretty
Think
cool.
you can make that by the end of your first day in the shop?
I hope so.
All right.
I'm going to try.
I think we're going to start with a knife. So we are going to make a knife today, and the knife's going to be a gift for a fabulous lady that we met on the Yukon River. Her name's Frida Alford, and she's a full-blood North Shoshone native, and she works as the interpreter at Fort Selkirk, and had a fabulous day spent with her. So she fell in love with my neck knife, and she said, she didn't ask for one, and I would have gifted her this, but we still had about 10 days on the river. So I said when I got home I'd make one. So that's what we're going to build today.
Yep.
And if you compare a knife to that, it's a pretty simple thing to build for an apprentice. So shall we go to the shop and get at it?
Yes, we are.
I built a turkey soup. Now, keep in mind I built it, but that's what we're having for lunch. I hope it's edible. Let's get at it. See if we can teach this young fella something.
All right.
All right. So we've got another example of Patrick's fine work here. We've got a hinge from probably late 18th century, early 19th century, somewhere in there.
Very, very common for holding windows shut.
Yeah, it's a pretty unique piece. It's got its own built-in spring in the same solid body of metal, and yeah, that's a pretty unique piece. Anyway, where's that darn apprentice?
He's playing with his dog.
I wouldn't feed him tonight. Okay, I'll go find him.
All right.
So you're ready to do some learning?
Yeah.
So just a bit on indentured servitude. If during the time period that is my persona, so mid 1700s, people would often, in trying to escape Europe, overpopulated, running out of food, they would want to move to the Americas. And then the only way they could earn their passage would be to indenture themselves, usually for a period of 7 years.
Yeah.
So we've got a master blacksmith here, and you've made your way from Holland, and Patrick's decided to take you under his wing. And the only thing he's going to give you for the next 7 years is...
You're going to get room and board, a suit of clothes, and a set of tools when you're done, and an education.
Perfect.
The best part about indentured servitude, even though that seems like a horrific period of time, this young fellow is going to depart for the frontier, and every new town, as the frontier is moving west and north and other directions, they need a blacksmith. And you're going to become a very wealthy man in a few years.
Yep.
And I'm going to get out of your hair, and you're going to explain the whole process.
Yep, as we go.
Perfect.
You're forging, but the material is hot, right? It needs to be bright. When it stops being bright, then you stop working because you're really not doing anything. Just let it soak for a sec. That's the handle roughed out. We work on drawing that out to the blade. All right. So be steady. A little quicker. So when your bellows there, your lower chamber fills the upper chamber. Upper chamber needs to be full,
Right.
so the air comes out in a steady blast. Gives an even heat. Okay, stop. You need to keep the scale off of the work because it's harder than the work, right? And you wind up, you put dings in the material if you don't keep it off.
Right.
Plus it helps you see what you're doing. Okay, stop. When you're making something like a knife, you want to do as much work as you can at the anvil, right? Because there's an old adage there, 10 minutes here is worth an hour filing.
Right.
So you don't want this to be too thin right now.
Okay.
You'll finish that up after it's hardened and tempered.
Okay.
All right, now we need to keep this a little straighter here. We'll give it another heat. A bit of the edges defined there, just rough. That'll get cleaned up with files. And doesn't matter what you're working on, you always want to keep it as straight as you can as you're working. So heat that up there. You go around the side there,
Okay.
okay? And I'm going to hold the knife, and I'm going to hold this,
Okay.
and you're going to hit that,
All right.
okay? Now, I want you to bring it up and straight down,
All right.
so it contacts like that,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And I just listen,
From that side.
yeah, from that side, right? So I'm going to work like this, okay? And you're going to be here,
Yeah.
okay? Hit that as flat as you can,
Okay.
okay?
I'll do my best.
And then lift it up. I'm going to move that, right? So it's going to be,
Right.
right? It's one of the nice things about iron and steel, is you can change the shape of it immensely. Hit. I'm going to brush the scale off of there, because it'll just get driven in. And kind of counterproductive to what we're trying to do.
So Patrick's made one, and now he's replicating that. Basically, we're going to have the same shape. I'm working on the two scales, and although it don't look pretty, that's a nice looking piece of wood in there once it gets cleaned up. Anyway, production today, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sirs.
Okay, now turn. You get a little black spot that shows up on the backside there. Up here. You don't need to have it too terrible hot when you're doing this. It's shaped. We brought it up to a high enough temperature. It's a process called normalizing, and that's going to realign all the structure that was disturbed by the forging. We just let that sit and air cool, and then we'll start filing it.
Okay, so Patrick's finished the second one. Well, not quite finished, but we've got it roughed out. But before we harden it, we're going to do some filing, and our young apprentice here is we're going to get him sweating a bit, and we're going to clean that up a little bit before we harden it, because it's a lot easier now. It'll skate afterwards. So there's a finished one. We're going to put the stain on that tonight, and get a little leather sheath sewn for it, and get that off to my friend Freed up there in the Yukon territories.
Well, now this is a traditional way of tempering. We're looking for a straw or bronze color right at the edge, right up in here.